What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Not So Daily Dino. Today we got Beckley. This man's a legend. I've been looking up to this dude for basically since I started. He's super crazy, and he just got a job for the U.S. men's national team as the manager of video production, which is absolutely insane. Before that, he was shooting video for Austin FC, and before that, he was just freelancing all over the place. He's worked with so many different people. Absolutely insane. So if you want to check it out, kind of figure out how he got to where he is, might be super dope for you. Later.
Just take an audio file and anything that's outdoors or something like that, or anything with some background noise, and just Google Adobe Enhance. And it's called Enhance AI, and it's like a vocal enhancer.
Yeah.
And it's stupid how good it is.
You just upload it into the website?
You just upload your file,
and then you just gives you back something.
And it gives you a bar of how much power you want.
Okay.
And then you can kind of select how much power you want, and then you download it and re-upload it. But it's also in the new beta of Premiere.
Okay.
So if you have the Premiere beta,
yeah,
it's built in. But I think eventually it's just going to be built into the whole version of Premiere.
Yeah, I bet.
Which would be sick. But man, it's
that is wild.
ridiculous.
I had no idea that was a thing.
It's really, really good. And the cool thing is when they first came out with it, it was just an on and off toggle. And sometimes when it was on, if people didn't speak too clearly and it got a little bit robotic.
Yeah.
It would slur words together a little bit.
Okay.
It got a little bit weird with Spanish and stuff sometimes because people have different dialects. But then now this new one, because it has the slider on it, you could be okay, if I go all the way, it might be really clear, but slur some words together. So I'm gonna go down to 75%. And I'll accept a little bit of background noise.
Yeah.
You know? But
it's like the AI denoise when you go 100%. It looks like AI art. I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm bro, what? So same thing.
So it's funny because you could probably record something in this room with just microphones on the camera, and it would sound bad, and you would throw it in there, and it would be usable.
That's crazy. I'll have to I can try that on the thing and see if it recovers anything.
You should just shoot something and then just do a social video or something like that and be hey, just trying out Adobe and AI and just on camera mic and then upload it and just throw it in there and do the before and after or some shit.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I saw something like that and I was like,
that's crazy.
But now I literally throw it on everything. Even if I have a lav mic or a boom mic or whatever, I put it on.
Fix it.
Just add sometimes I'll just add 10%. Sometimes there's a little bit of hum from an AC or something, right?
Just to clean it up. Yeah, that's crazy. I'll use that for sure. That's crazy.
We had this guy with the necklace hit that rub the mic a little bit and took it out.
That's insane, bro. I hate that. Especially when someone goes to touch their jacket or they scratch their neck and they get the lab. It's
you're
so.
You're I'm also I try to not ask people to re-say things as much as possible.
Yeah,
unless it's
100%.
Absolutely necessary.
You need the sound
especially with athletes, man. They don't want to be in there.
I want to train.
They want to even if they do, they just want to get it done.
Yeah.
And so the more you ask, the less you'll get later. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
I had thought white balance set to 5600, but I think it's when it gets dark, it's gonna be collapsed. So I'm gonna put it in more auto, and then we'll.
I low key shoot everything at 5500.
Yeah.
I'll be 100%. Well, for the most part, yeah. I'll shoot training games, daytime games, nighttime games, interviews, everything. And then I just color balance with LUTs.
With LUTs?
Yeah.
That's fair. I feel like I have a hard time when the white balance is off to get my shots to look right.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it's just my lack of color grading knowledge, but I just I'm bro, why is this clapped? So
I'll be honest, it's a little bit more difficult, but once you kind of get the color between them, it's a lot easier to create a consistent look between daytime and nighttime footage. You know what I mean? And different lighting situations, which is nice.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
crazy. Well, after our little chat, let's I'll just have you introduce yourself, and then kind of basically what I want to talk about is from where you started and how you ended up on the men's national team for video stuff.
Yeah.
So you can introduce yourself, tell us kind of what you do, and then just kind of start from the beginning, and we'll kind of go with it and just, take it from there. So,
yeah. I mean, you know what I do.
I know what you do, but no one else knows what you do. So, yeah.
I'm Ian. I, by title, am manager of video production for the U.S. men's national soccer team.
That's so sick. How do you not instantly smile when you say that?
I do.
Yeah. I was going to say, I would be so excited.
It's the first, cool title I've ever had.
Yeah.
And what that basically just means is I'm the only full-time video person with the men's national team.
The only person.
Yeah.
That's
the only
crazy.
full-time person. We have we hire a lot of freelancers, but basically the video brand for the men's national team is mine. I manage it. I work with our director of video to build the brand and quality control it, and like hire freelancers, manage shoot plans, all that good stuff. So
that's wild.
Yeah, pretty new. Only been a couple weeks. Just finished my first camp with the team, so got 2 games under the belts, 1 win, 1 loss. And yeah, I mean, obviously I started here in Albuquerque.
Yep.
Not doing video, actually. Doing photo. And Josh Lane, I was in college, and Josh Lane, who was the brand director at the time for New Mexico United, wasn't the creative director yet.
Okay, just the brand director.
Yeah, just the brand director.
Okay.
Him and I like met through some events, some like Instagram stuff, and had been like having lunch like every day during college.
Yeah.
And I was shooting landscape stuff.
So this, you were just mainly shooting landscape stuff.
Yeah,
like maybe some other stuff here and there, but mainly just landscape, just because you had fun and liked it.
Yeah, and like cool. It was just like the easy thing to do, right? Like you want to take photos and you're in New Mexico. It's like, what can you always take pictures of? Like the sky, pretty, the mountains, sunsets, right? And then I just really oversaturated it. If you want to go way back on my Instagram and look at my old stuff, way too orange. But we got past it.
Yeah, fair enough.
And yeah, I was shooting landscape stuff, and Josh got that job as the brand director for New Mexico United, and I've always been a big soccer guy. My family's Portuguese. Grandfather loves it. Like, played a little while in high school and stuff, and I was like, hey, if you just need some help, like need a hand, like let me know, and like I'd be down to whatever you need. And so the first away kit, like jersey shoot, I just carried lights. I carried a jacket for some of the players out in the desert. And that's where I met Marcos for the first time, actually, because he was on video team at the time there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And
that's crazy. I didn't know you guys met like that.
That's how we met, yeah.
Because I knew you guys were boys. That's a crazy. Yeah. So wild to hear about stories
I introduced
like that.
him and Joe, too.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, dude.
Yeah.
I met Joe a long time ago, too, but I think it was, I don't even know, dude. That's so wild. Yeah.
We don't want to think about when we met him.
Yeah, screw Joe. No, I'm playing.
Flip it. But yeah, man, I did that. I helped out with that shoot, and I told Josh, I was like, I just love to take some photos of the games, and he's like, cool, like yeah, like I can get you credentials. Like we don't have a budget. Obviously, I'd never shot sports before.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because like a few years before that, I was like, sports photography, stupid. Because I love sports, but I was like, it's the same thing every time. Like you can't do anything cool.
Yeah.
That was kind of like my mindset. But I was just excited that there was a soccer team here, so
yeah,
jumped in, shot the entire first season for free with photo wise.
Nice.
And then like throughout that process, like Mark met some people. I kind of got closer with Mark and Josh, and like they both kind of helped me like progress as a photographer. Like I still hadn't touched video yet, and like cause that went on for like a couple of years. Like me shooting stuff for United, covering home games.
Before we go further, you said like you shot for free like the whole first season. Like,
yeah.
I've always thought like shooting for free is great because you get your foot in the door. So like kind of like what are your thoughts on shooting for free? Just
I don't think a single thing I have that I've found some success in. I like didn't start with me shooting for free.
Yeah.
Or doing something for like incredibly like
low price. Yeah, like selling yourself.
Yeah, like my first concert I ever shot like was free from my university, and then the second one I offered to do it for free.
Yeah.
And I did 3 of them for free after like 6 months of trying to get somebody to let me shoot a concert.
Yeah.
And they liked the photos, so they like paid me like $50.
Nice.
But yeah, I shot the whole season for free. Shot the second season for like $50 a game. I think third season was like the COVID season.
Okay.
And then after that, like I finally like was getting 150, 200 a game to shoot photos, right? It still wasn't like that much money, but it was 4 times what like anybody else was making.
Right.
There's not as much money in USL, obviously. So, but yeah, I still at this point hadn't done really any video yet. So.
And this is like 2021?
This is like 2021, somewhere around there. Yeah,
somewhere around there. Okay, cool.
It was right post COVID because, but like at that point, so Marco started working with like a studio, doing some video projects with a studio.
Real Life Studios, that one?
Yeah, started working with Real Life.
Yep.
Great people. Love those guys over there. And then he started working with them, and I started kind of coming on with them to do photo work and then like assist on video things. So I started shooting video. I wasn't doing pieces. I was just pointing my camera, shooting it the same way I knew how to shoot photo. I was covering games, right?
Yeah.
And then the Gold Cup came around, I think 2021 Gold Cup, and they needed like a shooter. Real Life needed a shooter to like help cover stuff for like the host broadcast. And Marcos was like, hey, you should reach out to Ian. And I was like, I don't do video. I'm not a video person at all. And that, it's literally like a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. Yeah, that's wild.
And
that is crazy.
Ended up doing Gold Cup. It wasn't like the most high paying thing, but it was like a month straight. We did all the way up to the semifinals, basically just shooting like locker rooms, arrivals, some training sessions, and green screens for CONCACAF and for like the host broadcast with Marcos in like a real life studio. And yeah, after that, like me and Mark started traveling around with them a little bit more. I was doing a little bit more involved with video, still not really editing pieces, still not producing them, again, just a shooter. Yeah. So I was doing 80-20 photo video, right? Mm-hmm. And then, it's last summer of 2022 came around, and I was kind of looking for like the next step. I felt like I hadn't been growing recently. I felt like all my freelance clients on the photo end I'd had for a while. So we had built up a style and aesthetic we had built up, and I was making good money, right? I was making like over $100,000 a year.
That's crazy. Just freelancing and
just freelancing.
Like crazy.
I was living in Albuquerque.
Absolutely
I was
insane.
Not working very much, and making good money. And but I like wasn't growing. I was getting a little annoyed because I had all these freelance clients that I had for a bit, and I couldn't like change anything. Yeah. Because like we had established their style, we had established their color palettes, how the edits would look, right? And so I kind of was like, I don't really know what I want to do, but I want to do something that like is different. Yeah. And I wasn't looking for anything specific, right? I was just kind of looking for opportunities, and I was looking at people that I had followed on social medias and things, and like that I really liked, that like inspired me. And there was 2 people that I followed that were on staff at Austin FC, which is their lead photographer, Jacob Gonzalez.
Remember
and
you
then
put me on him. He's crazy.
He's
cracked. Yeah.
And then the director of video, Pi. So like literally just like a week after I like started feeling like this, I'm thinking this, Pi posted like, hey, looking to add to the creative team. Yeah. If you're interested, like hit me up on her story. And so I hit her up on her Instagram, I hit her up on Twitter, I hit her up on LinkedIn, I emailed her, and then like I tweeted at her and said, hey, I messaged you on multiple platforms. Yeah. Cause it's kind of my method. Like, I'm not gonna not get something because you just didn't see my message. Yeah. You know what I mean? That would be tough. You're at least gonna see it. You're at least gonna know that I have interest. And then if I don't get it at that point, it is what it is. But I'm not gonna like never be heard. You know? Right. Like if I apply for a job, I'm going to follow up with somebody, be like, hey, I applied. Hey, look at my resume. Hey, look at my qualifications. You don't have to hire me, but like at least
check me out.
Yeah. At least put me in the room. Yeah. So I hit up Pi. We jumped on a few calls. They needed somebody. They wanted to add somebody to the video team. And it's funny because I asked her multiple times. I was like, are you sure you don't need like a photo position? She's like, we don't, like, we only have one photographer. Like, that's kind of the way it's going to go. We need another video ad. And we need to add somebody pretty quick because like we're getting ready to like hopefully go into the playoffs. And this was July of 2022. Okay. And I had a couple interviews. I remember Pi told me afterwards, somebody asked her like, hey, how's your search for a new videographer going? And she's like, well, our leading candidate doesn't actually shoot video. So
that's so crazy. The leading candidate. That's so wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up getting offered that job, and I moved 2 weeks later to Austin.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
And I was there like 13 months, and then throughout that process, I was able to meet the new creative director at U.S. Soccer, who had been following me for a while, and have had a conversation over a cup of coffee when he was in town for the women's national team game about his ideas for the video brand and where it would go, and my thoughts on U.S. Soccer. And I've always loved the national team. Yeah, that was the one of the reasons I went to Austin was like I wanted to be with the national team going into the World Cup in 2026. Yeah. Because it's going to be the biggest sporting event in history. It is. It's a World Cup. Insane. It's also being expanded to 48 teams, so it's the largest World Cup ever. Wow. And it's in the largest sport market in the world. Yeah. So it's going to be the biggest sporting event in history.
That's insane.
And we are going into it with, in my opinion, the most talented generation of American soccer players in history. Nice. And that's huge.
That is crazy.
And I was like, I want to be a part of that. And I told myself, even if I'm not like with the team, I'm at least going to save up money, and I'm going to do this on my own. I'm going to cover this team on my own. I'll just like figure out how to get credentials and access and pay out of pocket somehow. Right? Yeah. Yeah. And so I went to Austin just to try to learn. And then like I went there to try to get better. Like I told you, I felt like I wasn't learning. I wasn't progressing. Within that 13 months that I was there, working with Pi, working with Jacob Stedler, working with like Greg and Madeline and the video team there, grew more in like that 13 months than like I had like my entire career prior. Yeah,
that's crazy, man. I think there's something super valuable about taking a risk like that, especially because you like I'm not even a videographer really, but I'm gonna just apply for this and see what happens. And so my friend Josh told me one time, not Josh Lane, a different Josh, he was like, don't tell yourself no, let them tell you no. Yeah. So I feel like that's kind of the mentality or somewhat that you had going into it, but it's crazy that it turned out to be
like such a big like kind of career booster for you. So,
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have thought that like 2 years after the first time ever doing video, thinking I couldn't do it, I would like be getting back from like we just playing Ghana and Germany with the national team. Right?
Yeah, insane.
It's cool. It's super cool. Like I didn't expect it, but yeah, I'm proud. I still feel like it's a lot. Like like, you know what I mean? It still feels weird to me because like
feel kind of like a fever dream. Like you're like, what the heck's even going on?
There's a lot of times I still don't even feel like I'm a videographer. Like, like when I think about it, I still like kind of feel like a photographer sometimes.
Do you think your heart's in like photos? Like, do you see things still as pictures, or do you see things as video, or probably both?
Both now, which is a little weird sometimes, right?
I bet.
And sometimes I like can't decide like what I would rather be doing in a moment. But I grew like a massive appreciation for video and like the strength that it has, right? So I would say like I probably do like love video more now than
that's
photo.
Crazy. Yeah.
But I still feel like I'm a better photographer. But yeah, I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's just because I've just have a lot more experience. I've shot a lot more types of things in photo.
For photo, yeah.
In video, I've pretty much just done sports.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember I was talking with Mark somewhere. I don't remember where it was. We might have been in Vegas for the Nations League final. I don't remember what it was, but he was talking about how you like started doing video and how when you like were doing photo and you were like super into photo, you were like, oh, photo's way harder than video or something like that. And then when you started doing video, you're like, nah, bro, you were so right, which I think is hilarious because video takes so much more work.
I still stand by this where I said like to get like an incredible photo, it's a little bit more difficult than an incredible video because like
you have to capture it like
it has to be perfect, right?
Yeah,
like
that's totally valid.
Like I think like the best of the best photos can be like more powerful than like a video, but it's like it has to be perfect. And there's so many ways that you can alter a video. And I think that's one of like the things that makes it like really powerful is like the same footage can create something totally different. Yeah. Like just based on like the perspective of like the editor. So a photo is going to be a photo. Yeah. So that's like the edit's going to affect it a little bit. It's going to add that like 20% at the end. Right. But
no, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, my mindset changed a lot.
Yeah. So this job came to you because the creative director. What was the title you said?
Creative. The creative director. His name's Javi.
Okay, yeah. So he just hit you up because he'd been following you.
So yeah, I actually hit him up.
You hit him up because he was coming into town, or yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I was in
let's
Austin,
grab coffee.
And he'd been following me for a long time on Instagram, and like I saw he got the job, and I was okay.
I see. So he wasn't even at. I see. I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw he got the creative director job. Yeah. We've been following each other on socials for a while, and the women's national team were coming to do a friendly in Austin. Right. And so I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, I'd love to grab coffee and chat. Like, you let me know when you're available, and I'll make myself available. I'll be there." And I went to his hotel. There's a coffee shop in his hotel. I went to his hotel, met up with him. We just had a conversation. I asked him about like his perspectives and where he wanted to push things and how he wanted to change the brand and change the vision of like what U.S. soccer is like creatively. And we aligned on a lot of stuff, which I thought was really good. Yeah. And I liked a lot of what he said, and it seemed like he liked a lot of what I said. And then come like a couple months later, like I hit him up as like, hey, like was thinking about our conversation, like would love to work together just on something sometime. More like shooting my shot at like, hey, if there's like a freelance opportunity, getting a foot in the door or something like that. Yeah, if there's like a freelance opportunity, you guys are coming back to Austin, you need a shooter. Like, let me know. Yeah. You know, let me know. I'll shoot for the women. I'll shoot for the men. Like, I want to like, this was me like, hey, let me get my foot in the door. Right. Let me shoot for you. Let me show you what I can do. And then maybe we'll go from there. Yeah. And he just responded with an application link. Said, hey, so this open today.
Did your heart drop for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet I would have been like, bro, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And so he's like, I think you should apply for this. And I was like, okay, yeah. And
sure.
Yeah. Read about the description of the job a little bit and applied for it, and I didn't hear anything for like 2 months. It was a busy time though. Like I applied in May, and the role like then they had the Gold Cup for the men, they had the Nations League for the men, they had the Women's World Cup, and so everybody was everywhere. Yeah, the entire summer was just like loaded with international tournaments, and I was just like, okay, like I would love to know something. Right. So I like followed back up, and they're like, hey, we haven't even had a chance to look at applications yet, and I was like, oh,
fair enough. Yeah. Did you think they were like capping or like you sitting there?
I thought like they probably were being honest.
Okay, fair enough.
But I was just like, I just like want to know,
right?
You know,
like it's been sitting on your head, and you're like, bro,
yeah.
Were you trying to keep it low key too? Like
I was keeping it like a little low key because like I love Austin. I love
I'm sure.
like, the people there, and I still like hold that club like in a very high regard in my mind. And the people that are there and the video brand as well.
Yeah. Their video stuff's crazy. I was peeping it like I think it was last week, and I was just like, bro, it's so crazy.
They're great, man.
Yeah,
best in MLS in my opinion.
They're really good. Yeah.
So I was like keeping it low key, talk to my friends and people I was like cool with and close with. But yeah, they like offered me the job and they're like, can you start in like 2 weeks? And I was like, can it be 3 weeks? Because I'm going to a wedding. And yeah, like I started. I didn't even move to Chicago before I started. Yeah. Because it's based in Chicago, U.S. Soccer.
Right.
Flew out there for a week, did all my onboarding, and then I flew straight to Nashville to meet up with the team.
That's crazy, man.
So
just boom, boom, right there. Right.
And I just got back to Albuquerque today.
Yeah.
And driving to Chicago to move into our townhome that we got.
That's so crazy.
And then I'll be in the office on Tuesday, and I'm there for 2 weeks, and then I am out again for another 12 days with the team for 2 more games.
Yeah, that's
one
insane.
of which is in Austin.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
there you go.
At
Just
Q2 Stadium.
Say what's up to the homies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Congratulations for sure, man.
Thank
That's
you.
literally insane, bro. Yeah, it's so crazy. So shooting soccer, what is it like to shoot professional, like to that level? Because I feel like it's the same, maybe not the same, but the same caliber as like NFL or like, I mean, maybe only NFL is like the only thing, or maybe baseball, but maybe not. I don't know. I feel like maybe baseball's not as exciting, but kind of what is it like to do that? And what does it feel like to get a crazy shot, like a Selly shot? Like you got someone like they just, score and you just like, they run straight to your camera. Like walk me through that too.
It's hard in soccer in general, just because there's just like a lot of guys on the field.
Yeah.
It's really unpredictable. You know what I mean? Like there's the ball's, the ball's on the ground. Like in football, like at least if the ball's on the ground, it's dead, right? So when the ball's in the air, you're reading it. And so like I tend to shoot like from the field level. I shoot on the ground. I shoot on like a high hat. So and an FX6. So like the camera's sitting like 12 inches off the ground. Yeah. So it's a pretty low perspective. Right. Nice depth of field in the grass, but you can't really take in the game as much from there. So because you can't see the formations. Right. You're not seeing as much depth because everybody's standing at like a level playing field. So it's a little bit harder to notice like where somebody is, like if they're farther away or closer. So because of that, like it's a lot of reaction. So I kind of tend to follow the play. So I follow the ball, I follow its movement for obvious reasons. But there's like little things that I like didn't do at first where like I would want at first I was like, I'm gonna stay wider so I don't miss anything. Right. Then
you're shooting like a 100 to 400 or something?
100 to 400, okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Say wider so I don't miss anything. So I would like leave a lot of extra space in the frame with my subject. Then my boss in Austin, she was like, hey, I want to see you get tighter on these players. Like you're playing it safe, like get tighter. And so then I started getting tighter, but I started losing the ball and like losing the field of play. Right. And so then I kind of developed this like now the way I shoot is like I shoot tighter, and then when there's like movement that is like a little bit more unpredictable, which just comes down to me watching a lot of soccer. Yeah. Like so this just comes down to me understanding the sport really well and kind of being able to ideally guess what a player's going to do. Yeah. I like actually I'll whip and zoom out. So like for example, like if I'm like tracking somebody like down the end line and like tight on the opposite side of the field, and they go to cross it in, like I will pan in and then like pan out, like not pan out, pan in, and then I'll like zoom out a little bit.
I see. Yeah.
So I can like allow for that space.
And then once you get set, you go back in.
Yep. So it's just fast paced, man. Like even going from like United to Austin. Yeah. I'm
sure there was a big difference.
Felt world different. And then I go into this first training session with the US men, and I was like,
bro, what?
I was like, these guys are incredible. You know, like it's like when you're at like and this is like no disrespect to anybody, but like when you're at like the USL level, there's like a couple guys you're like, that guy's pretty good. Right. You know, he's hitting shots consistently. Yeah. He does some stuff. You're like, oh, that was sick. And you go to MLS and there's like everybody's pretty good. Yeah. But there's like a couple guys that are like really damn good, where they're like consistently like the best person on the field. Right. And then you get to like the national team level, and it like feels like everybody is like that.
That's crazy.
Like they're all that.
I wonder what it's like to shoot Messi then. Like I bet you like you're just the one dude. And you're like, bro, this guy's absolutely insane.
It's just I mean, it's crazy. Like like Sebastian Driussi at Austin, he's incredibly good. Like he was almost always the best player on the field. And you could see it when you just watched him in training.
Yeah.
Then I get to this training for the national team, and it's like these guys that like on paper are like not like consistent players in the team that are maybe not like the best people on paper, like look just as good as anybody I've ever seen in person, you know? And you're
so
just
crazy.
like, yeah, you're seeing these guys that are like 20 years old, like maybe like on the bench, not even playing very often, like smashing top corner bangers every single shot training.
So crazy.
Right? Like you're like the quality here is just crazy. And then you also think about it like from a grander perspective. It's like the U.S. men's national team, like we're still a very, very young team.
Right.
We're still like trying to grow and compete at the highest level.
Yeah.
So these teams at like the highest level, like the France's, the England's, like the Portugal's, like the quality's crazy.
Right.
So like, yeah, going into like soccer, man, like I think a lot of other sports, like you can shoot it if you like understand how to shoot. Soccer, I feel like you do need to understand the game.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
So like we had a freelancer shoot this Ghana game for us, and like one of the questions I asked him was like, "Hey, like, do you know soccer? Like, do you watch it?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Cool. Like, I'm just gonna put you in this position, but like follow the play, but like feel out when is the right time to get tight, when's the right time to be wide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like if you can read the body language of a player and like what he might be about to do,
right?
Whether he's going to do a skill move, he's going to like smash a shot towards goal, or he's going to pass it. You can kind of tend to try to read that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can only read so much because if you could read it perfectly, so would the defenders in the field, right?
Right.
But trying to read that and like understand where they might be playing the ball is going to allow you to shoot better.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times where I'm like tracking a center back, right? And I'll see him cut back to his right side, and then we'll see like his chest positioning, and he'll be like lining up for a long ball, and I'm like thinking, okay, this is gonna go to this right winger, and he hits it, and like maybe even if I lose it out of frame because I saw the direction it was going,
right,
I'll like pan out and go to the right winger, and then next thing you know, ball drops right on him.
That's crazy.
And
yeah,
if you didn't know the sport, you'd be like searching
like,
for the ball in the sky
it?
somewhere. You know, like, shit, I lost the ball. But because like that doesn't work all the time, right? Like it's a guessing game. But I think that's just like a rule of thumb in like a lot of sports. I think some 100%. Are a little bit easier rather than like basketball, a little bit easier to not lose it. But like also everybody's a lot closer together in basketball.
Yeah,
so like focusing is harder, and you're indoors, so lighting and coloring is harder. So soccer is also harder because like you can't really miss.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like there might be one actual thing in the game. It's like you get one goal.
True. Yeah. And you're like, oh, you better get it, or you don't
got it. This
could
be the biggest game on the planet, and it might be 1-0. And if you miss that goal,
it's like, well,
that's
so crazy.
Better hope one of your other angles got it, right?
So
you better hope get one of your other shooters got it. So.
I think that's like, I guess, a luxury with like shooting with United. Like it's USO, but there's like 6, 7 people on the field shooting. So if you miss it, you're like, oh, someone else probably got it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure at that level, there's not like 7 or 8 of you guys out there just.
No, I mean we tend to shoot with like 4.
4? Okay. Yeah.
And like that's also something that I like take in consideration, like on the angles that I'm having people do. Is like,
are you setting up where they're shooting and everything like that too? Oh
yeah,
my
I build
gosh,
I build the shot plans and everything like that.
Yeah, that's wild.
I also do like I'm doing like most of the editing as well now. Because we just hire freelancers for shooting. Basically, they don't really do edits, which we can have them edit if we need. But yeah, like I like to put somebody on like above the first level of fans, like on a tripod, like with a longer lens, like a 200-600. Yeah, and that might not be like the most like dynamic angle because you're kind of looking down at the field, but it's a lot easier to shoot. You know, it's a lot. It
almost guarantees you're going to get what you need.
It's a lot easier to focus. It's kind of like, and it's an angle that I think still looks really good. So it's like, okay, this looks good. This is going to be something we can color well. It's going to be like, but it's really difficult to miss here. The only time you'll miss is somebody literally stands in front of your camera. Yeah, which can happen because like the fans can jump up, but for the most part, like it's difficult to miss. Like that's something that I consciously think about. Is like, okay, we obviously have our 2 angles on the field that look the best, but if I miss, this person misses.
It's just your safety, your backup.
Exactly. Yeah. So my typical shooting positions is hi-hat at top of the 18 on the offensive end. Okay. Hi-hat about 10 yards above the 18 on the defensive end, covering both offense and defense. So covering keeper, tackles, all that stuff. A tripod as close to the baseline as you can get above the 100 level on the fans, so that first concourse level. Okay. On a 200 to 600. Yeah. And then somebody like behind the goal, like on the 6-yard line off to the side.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the 4.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
I mean,
didn't even think about that. Like, but that's so wild. Like, you're so right. Like, having a plan for where people are going to be is kind of important. Yeah.
And it changes for every stadium now because U.S. soccer, they don't have like a home stadium. It's a different stadium every game.
Right.
So
are they using just like random stadiums, like football stadiums and like stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah, football stadiums, soccer stadiums. So like they played at UConn Stadium in Connecticut versus Germany.
Okay.
And we played at Nashville SC Stadium in Nashville, Geodis Park. So
Crazy.
And then we're playing at Austin SC Stadium, Q2.
That stadium is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
So beautiful. Yeah.
So they kind of play wherever they're going. They play in a stadium, and like they work with like the club that hosts and stuff like that. So it's different. It's very different than like a club season. Like there's no season. You know, it's just is when it is.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Last time we chatted when the podcast was like kind of barely coming up, you said the best way to describe like shooting like soccer also is like you're kind of like the athlete because you're there with or training. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So this is something that like some people don't get.
Yeah, because I still don't get it all the way either. So that's why I'm like,
because it's, you know how like when you're like training for something and it's like eventually you just get it's muscle memory, right? And like everyone's like, oh, how'd you do that? And like you don't think about it.
Yeah,
it's like you just do it.
Yeah.
Shooting soccer and like shooting like sports for me in general, especially on a video end, it is very like practice based. So sometimes like when I'm shooting training, like because I shoot on a hi hat for the game, which is a hi hat and a 100/400 all manual focus. It's a very different type of shooting than shooting training handheld on a 7200, right? With like autofocus and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, if I don't like shoot that way very much, like I forget how to shoot. Like I don't forget, but like it takes me the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game to like
kind
really
of get back into it,
to get in like a flow, right?
Yeah.
To where like I'm panning smoothly, to where I'm tracking smoothly, to where like I have reminded my hand how far I need to move the focus ring. And
so impressive, the like manual focus, bro. Like
because like I'm like
it,
clutching like this, and I have like this is on like the zoom ring, and I pinch. And then this is like my focus. So then I pinch. And so when I pinch, I just rotate my arm. I rotate my whole wrist. And then while I do that, I use these 2 fingers to do the focus. But if I haven't done that in a couple weeks, I still know how to do it. But it takes me like a couple minutes, a couple plays.
To really like make sure you're hitting
to really
everything.
like get it together, right? And then like that changes if I'm doing a different frame rate. Like I was thinking I was in 60 frames a second to start one game, and I was in 24. And there's way more motion blur. And like my mind was like, why am I struggling to track as much? Because I wasn't seeing the ball as much when I was panning because there was more motion blur.
Right.
And it like took me like 3 to 4 minutes to like start tracking well because I had to like readjust for the amount of blur that I was getting.
Yeah.
And not being able to see as clean of a picture while panning. And then I was like, oh, I'm in 24 frames a second.
Yeah.
So then I switched it and I was like, now this feels so easy, you know? But, so like I would go to training sometimes, and even though like not necessary really to like throw a hi hat and a 100 or 400 on at training when I can be this close to the players and I can be wherever I need to be at training, I would post up like a little bit farther away.
So you're practicing for game
on the
day.
1 to 4 on a hi hat. Yeah,
Makes sense.
And then I do that. Like I like to do that with whenever they do like crossing and finishing drills. I like to do that because like that's one of the harder things to like I have to pull focus on. I find is like if you have somebody on the far end of the field or the near end of the field and you're focused on them and then they're crossing it to the middle.
Yeah.
So you're like either tight because you're tight to the person across the field, and then you're trying to get wider and pull focus 50 feet towards you, or you're really, really wide because the person's right on you. And then you're trying to push in to the center of the box as well as pushing your focus. Yeah. So I like to, if I see crossing and finishing, if I see it on like the training sheet, we get sent like sheets to tell us what they're doing at training beforehand, which is nice. I will then bring the hi-hat, right? I'll bring a hi-hat, I'll bring a 100 or 400, and I will like just shoot that. That gives me a little bit of good practice.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. I remember when I started at UNM, they had me shooting like a dance class because they were doing like a promotional video for like the whatever school. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was like shooting manual. I was on an FX3 and I was shooting like on a Rokinon. I think it was like an 85 or something. And like obviously there's no autofocus. So I'm sitting there trying to get it. It was like probably my second or third time like shooting video with like a cinema lens, you know? Yeah. And I was like missing everything. So it's like being able to actually practice that is so important.
Yeah.
You'll miss it all the time. So
yeah, and then every lens is different. Like I don't shoot manual focus on a 7200 that often.
Yeah.
Just because like the focus throw on the Sony 7200 is like really it's like really narrow. Like it's like a tiny little movement and you're like past.
All the way. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like past your subject and you come back a tiny bit and you're like pass it again this way. So
like,
I tend to, how I shoot on that lens is I have a toggle button that I mapped. So it toggles autofocus and manual focus on. So it's like on my pointer finger. So I'll like shoot with an autofocus and then I'll toggle when I need to. So if like I'm moving behind things, if I'm like, if like the player's about to run behind a group of players.
That's so clutch actually. So that way it doesn't like do the weird. Yeah.
Yep. So like what I do is like, I'll be like tracking somebody and I can see my peripherals and I can see on the edge of the frame that people are about to come in frame. Then I toggle, keep going.
So
and then as I go,
dude.
I'll micro adjust. And then as soon as they're clear again, I unrelease the toggle.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's smart. I never thought of that. That's genius.
That was something
genius.
I did for photo. So see, that's an aspect of like, like that I did for focusing in photo with crowds. Yeah. I had like a focus lock toggle on my thumb so that if somebody was running through a crowd or running near me and like there are fans in the foreground, I had that lock. Yeah. Right. And so that's crazy. That like faded into my video shooting style. So
that's sick.
Yeah.
This is a dumb question, but it's kind of funny because I was thinking about it earlier. So it seems like you know like a lot about soccer, obviously, because you shoot it so much, and now you're like, for the national team. You just said you have to know a lot about soccer to do it. Do you think you could coach like a youth team?
I could coach a youth team.
Yeah, easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, no, I feel like this might apply.
I could coach a youth team. I don't know if I could coach like anything higher than like a high school level team, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. I was going to say, I feel like unless you're like really playing a lot, like it'd be hard to kind of go to the next level. But
up until basically after high school, like majority of it is just like positioning, right? It's like teaching players like where to be, how to use their feet, like the technique and like where to be on the field and what that position means and how to play it. Yeah. There's not really as much room for like creativity. There's not as much room for like advanced tactics, right? And I like understand these advanced tactics to a point, as much as like somebody who has never done the sport, played the sport or coached the sport at a really high level. Right. But there's been plenty of times where I've like sat in a meeting, like a team meeting, and they're talking tactics, and I'm just like, I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. I think I do. Like, I understand the basis of what you're saying, but I lost you halfway through. Yeah. Like, I know where you started, don't know where you ended. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Fair enough.
And it's cool. It's cool to like, even outside of like a video perspective, to just like see that. You know what I mean? Like sitting in the locker room, hearing how players are communicating about what they see on the field and what the coaching staff is seeing on the field. Yeah. It's like,
that's crazy. It's like an insider. Yeah. I was going to say it's
just as a fan, it's really cool. Yeah. Like, and this was something that was like in USL and MLS and the national team that like I get to like really experience it. Cause like I'm a fan of these guys. Like at the end of the day, like I love the sport. I want them to succeed just as much as anything, One, like it makes my job easier if they succeed. But two, just like as a fan, like I want it for them, especially once you start to get to know the guys and you get to like understand who they are, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's a whole nother connection because the amount of like discipline that it takes to play soccer at that level is insane. So I'm sure there's just like something that you just get. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of times in Austin where I would be like on the sideline shooting and I would realize there's like a broadcast microphone next to me and something would happen and I'd be like, and I'd like want to curse or like yell or something like that, but there's like a microphone right there that like goes for the broadcast, and I was like,
"That's crazy."
I'm like, "Don't yell."
That'd be so funny, actually.
Yeah, because because I remember this happened pretty recently. I was filming an Austin game, and the ball very clearly went in the goal.
Oh, is it the one where his hand is like past the goal and he like pushes it out? Oh, yeah.
And I had a shot of it, and I saw it very clearly, and they didn't give it, and we ended up losing that game 2-1.
So dumb.
And that would have put us up. That goal would have given us the lead. It would have changed the momentum completely.
Right.
And we ended up losing that game instead. And that game ended up kind of inevitably like leading to Austin not making the playoffs this year because it really like killed all the momentum, took a lot out of the team. Yeah. And I like everybody's screaming, and I was like, I can't, like, yes, I'm mad. Like I was pissed. Like that's one thing that a lot of people don't get is like, if I come off the field, like I'm just as mad as like the players are sometimes.
That's something that surprised me when I started shooting the United games because Josh Lane he's very passionate. Like he loves soccer. And so like last season I was just like editing for him. So I'd like get his cars and come back. And so sometimes I'd sit next to him and I just hear him like talking. He's like super passionate, but he's like hella mad sometimes or he's super excited. And it's so crazy. I didn't realize how emotional like just people were in soccer or something like I hadn't really seen before. So
yeah, man, like last night's crazy thing is last night like the US Ghana game, like they like scored to go up 3-0 and I was just like smiling. I was like because like the first game we played Germany we lost, and so this was my first win with the team. and like I was filming the guys that were going running and celebrating. I was filming Gio and Christian, and like all these guys just like smiling and hugging. And Gio scored a second goal.
Yeah,
and Christian just like came over there and just like pushed him, and Gio had like the biggest smile I'd seen on his face. And like the amount of time that I'd like so cool. I'd been around him, like that week and a half long period that I've been with the team, like hadn't seen him smile like that yet. And he just had like this massive smile on his face, and like his boys were just hugging him, and I was just smiling while I'm filming it. And I was like,
that's awesome.
It's cool. But then like if we go lose, like, and somebody's like, let's go out and get a drink, I'm like, no. Like I'm pissed off.
I don't want to do nothing.
I don't want to go out. I'm like, I'm mad. I want to go home.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
But I mean, that's why we do it, right? That's why like I'm okay with like the long hours and like the working 12 days straight type of thing, and not being home very often.
What is that like? Like going, I mean, you've only done it once now, but 12 days straight, like, is it annoying, tiring, like fun, exciting? Like I'm probably sure everything. I mean, like, is there a part of you that wishes like it wasn't so much, or do you just enjoy it?
I liked it. Yeah, I mean, I kind of operate in like that world really well.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, like, what people don't get from me at least is everybody's like, you have no free time, you don't have time to yourself. Like I was like, do you know what I would be doing in my free time? Like, you know what I like to do, right? What I like to do is shoot sports.
Yeah.
And do photos, do video.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'd be doing anyway.
So if I wasn't doing this, I would be doing this somewhere else. Yeah, it's like, you know, if you guys weren't paying me to do this, I would be trying to get me to do this for free.
Yeah.
So
that's that grinder mentality, bro.
Yeah,
absolute legend.
I'm at the point in my life right now where I everything I do for work, like even like the little things that like maybe aren't as much fun, like I really enjoy. So like I was like, oh yeah, I got to log footage, right? But then I'm sitting here watching videos of guys playing a game I love, listening to music I like, while I just like organize and tag footage.
Right.
Like, is that
not
glorious?
Too bad.
No. Is it going to take me a week to do it? Probably. But
it's a little vibe though.
Basically, I'm just listening to music all day.
Yeah.
And like typing a little bit.
That's crazy.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or like if I'm go to training and I'm like, I don't really need to film anything today. I get to sit and watch some of the best players in the world play soccer. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
I think there's something special about like when you're shooting it, like you're seeing it like from a perspective of like, oh, I'm trying to get the best shot. But I feel like you're also seeing the things that no one else is seeing, because you're getting like, even when you watch it back a million times, right? Yeah. Like you're just seeing all the little things that people do that just like bring like life to like what's happening, I guess, which I think is special. I know like even when I shoot weddings, like sometimes like, like, oh, someone probably didn't catch this like look in their eye, but like you can just see like the, you know, joy or whatever it is in it. So I think that's another super special
one of my
thing.
favorite things to shoot is players like immediately after an intense drill ends.
Okay. Is it the relief in their face, or
the relief, the exhaustion, you know, the sweat, like sometimes these guys are just like sitting here on the ground, like not moving, but like you get like a tight shot of their face and they're like drenched in sweat, and
that's so cool.
And they just look exhausted, and then you like see them go do it again. And you know, like,
it's crazy, man. Yeah, that's so crazy.
So like those are some of like my favorite things to shoot, like them spraying water in their face, or just
I love the shots for that. I love
or just getting a drink of water, you know, or like right after a drill ends, like, so like a lot of times the guys will come together and like they'll get with the guy and they'll like talk about something they did. You know, like those interactions, those things like that. So those smaller moments that like tell like a bigger story, you know?
Something Eric told me, Eric Lovato, who shoots for United now, he was like my favorite shots are not the ones like of the game. And when I first started shooting, I was like, oh, it's always going to be the sick shot of like the kick or the celly, whatever. But there's something really special about those shots that come before the game, when there's like in the practicing or like in the anxiety or whatever, like before the game starts, you know, and it's just so much like, I love those photos.
Yeah.
So
like
crazy.
I love being in the locker room, you know.
I want to do shooting locker room be so sick. Yeah.
It's cool, man. Yeah. Like just seeing, it's like you get to see like the mindset, right, where these guys are in, and it's different for every team. It's different for every like locker room, different for every guy, what they need to get in the zone. Some guys need music, they want it loud and out for the locker room, and some guys got their headphones on. Some guys might just be like zoned out. Some guys are smiling and laughing, you know. It's just like it's really interesting, you know. Like I just remember like Yunus Musa, like the midfielder. Every time I like point my camera at him, he just like smiled at me. And he's like, I can't be serious when I'm on camera. Yeah. And he was just smiling, and I was like, and he's just like the nicest guy. Yeah. And like, like he's very intense and like plays incredibly hard, but like he's always just smiling at everybody. Like anybody who's met him, like even before I met him, everybody's like, "Oh, Eunice is like the nicest guy."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, cool."
That's cool.
In my first training session, he just comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, I'm Eunice. Like, hey, nice to meet you. Like, tell me about yourself a little bit." And I was like, "Brother, you play for AC Milan. Like, you play for one of the biggest teams in the world. Like, you don't even know about me.
Yeah.
You know."
That's so
But
crazy.
he was interested.
Yeah.
And asked, and so.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's super crazy.
So it's cool. I think like at the end of the day, like shooting sports is really cool. But like connecting with like athletes and like telling the story of like who they are as individuals and like doing that through the sport is like why I like it.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to just be like, oh, the U.S. is a good team and they won this game. I want you to be like, oh, the U.S. is a good team and this guy scored a goal and that's why I should give a shit. You know, like that's why this goal means a lot to this guy. That's why this result is important. That's what this means.
Like getting the emotion and then like the satisfaction of like achieving the goal or whatever.
Yeah. Like you never know like what someone's going through or like nobody knows these guys. Like that's just celebrities in general.
Right. They just see them on the screen or whatever. Yeah. But it's crazy they have their own lives, bro.
Yeah. Most people don't get to have conversations with them. They just like look at them as like these figures that do something for entertainment.
Right.
Which at like the very core level they are. But like, it's like I want people to like care about the team and the results, but also care about the individuals and be like, yes, I want to succeed, but I want to succeed with these guys. I don't want to just succeed. I don't want to like succeed at any cost. I want to succeed with the guys that I know, or the guys that we are invested in. And you, in my opinion, you like build up that perspective. You build up that storytelling ability and you put that out there in the world. That's what's going to grow the sport. You know, you can make some little kid see himself in a player on the field and see like, hey, this guy's from Texas. He grew up like this. His family didn't have money.
Right.
He played at this kind of same level I did where I'm at now. And now he's playing in Italy, right? Now he's playing a World Cup. So if you can like bring that full circle picture back around, that's how you grow the game. And that's what I inevitably want. I want soccer to be one of the biggest sports in this country. Yeah. It is already the biggest sport in the world.
Yeah, it's the biggest one, for sure in the world. Yeah.
I want it to be like 1A and 1B with football. I don't know if it ever would take football.
Yeah,
I love
football's crazy here.
But like they should be like right there, you know? So yeah, it's fun. Like that's just the biggest part. It's fun to just like connect with these guys and it's not even just the players either, man. Like just the staff too. Like sitting with like an assistant coach who like was like a coach for the Italian team at one point or something like that, right? Like and just like talking about like his life and his route and like
his experiences and all that stuff. Yeah, I love like getting people's experience, like just talking with them about like the way their life has gone. It's just like I love that.
Yeah, I met one of the staff members like grew up in Thailand. Like I was like, that's wild.
What is that like? Yeah,
I lived there 8 to 18.
Like
fun, high school in Thailand is pretty crazy, and I'm like that's such a crazy life experience that I've never had. Yeah, like I want to know more.
Yeah, that's kind of why I started doing this because I love like hearing about like just people's lives and stuff like that. It's just so crazy to like tap into that when you'd never like live it. So the only way you can kind of experience it is by listening what someone has to say. So
so I just like meeting people and like meeting people through sports.
Nice.
Because
crazy.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
So
I'd say as a final note, like you started shooting when you were like 21, 22, is that right? 22, yeah. So, and now you're like 27. Okay, so it's only been like
5 years.
5 years.
5.5 years.
That's so crazy. Yeah. Like this is going to sound kind of corny and like stupid, but like what would you tell like someone who's like, you know, maybe like just like starting and they can't like get any like movement or they're just like, you know, they've been shooting for however long and they're like just haven't hit anything. Like what would you, it seems like the biggest thing that helped you was just take the risks to kind of get you there, shoot for free. Yeah. And, you know, just be persistent. So.
Yeah. I mean, at the core of like myself, everything that I tend to just go after whatever I think is going to make me like the happiest, whatever I'm enjoying. Yeah. You know, whatever I'm attracted to at that moment, whatever I'm like drawn to at that moment, I like tend to go after. And that's from like a travel perspective. That's from like getting a tattoo, you know, like I tattooed my knee because I was really into knee tattoos. Still am, obviously, but
that's funny.
Yeah, like so I wanted to shoot landscapes at one point. I dove into it, right? I was like, I'm just gonna go after what's made me happy. And
full send.
Yeah, and landscapes made me really happy for a while, and I found some success there, and I
just kind of took you to the next like step.
Yeah, and then I really wanted to do concerts for a long time. So I thought I was gonna be like this concert photographer for the longest time. Yeah. And then like some of the enjoyment faded for different reasons, and still enjoy it, but like in smaller amounts, right? Yeah. But all of those different things that like I went after, like whether it be like concerts, landscapes, photo, video, anything like that, like I learned a lot from it. I learned more like what I truly really like, and then I just continue to try to just meet people throughout that process. So I think everything that I have has more to do with me knowing people, and then my skill set. And like I said, like, do I think I am the singular best videographer in soccer in the country? Not at all. Not even freaking close. My boss is better than me. I would say that 100%. Like,
fair enough.
She's better than me, and there's a reason I like working for her, because I see her do something, I'm like, that's sick. Teach me. Yeah. You know, and that's always been my mindset. Like, I see something that's really cool, and I'm like, I want to know. Like, tell me how to do that. Like, I literally DM'd the head of video for the Cowboys the other day. Yeah. Because I love the way it colors. And I was like, let's jump on a call. And he was like, yeah, let's do it.
That's so sick, dude. Oh my gosh. That's so dope, bro. It's so dope.
And so like, hopefully I can learn that. But like, yeah, I mean, like, all I would tell somebody is like, follow what you think is making you happiest. Don't overthink it, because it's always going to change. Yeah. Just follow what you think is going to make you the happiest. Carry a good group of people along the way. Be open to meeting new people. And just don't overthink anything, because I could overthink things pretty easily. Yeah. Fair enough. Had I overthought going to Austin, I wouldn't be in Chicago. I wouldn't be at the national team, right?
Full send.
So I mean, like, that's the core. That's just my philosophy, is like, try new shit, make yourself happy, have some good people in your life.
Nice.
So
solid 3 points.
And you do all that stuff, and you're open and you're willing, like,
it's gonna come.
Everything else comes, you know, because you surround yourself with good people who are talented. They're gonna want to teach you. Yeah. You surround yourself with good opportunity. They're going to want to offer you one, you know. You put yourself in a good position, you're going to eventually find the right fit. Right. And if you don't find the right fit, you move on to the next one, right? Like, when I first went to Austin, I was like, I'm going to be here for 4 years at least. Yeah. I was there 13 months. Bro. And then sends you a link to a app. That's so crazy, man. That's so crazy. Yeah. So, wow. Yeah. Nice. But now perfect. Heading back, I'm moving to Chicago, and we're going to Austin, and then we're going to play Trinidad and Tobago. And then we have some games throughout the next year, and we've got ideally we qualify. We got Copa America next summer. Nice. So insane. Yeah, and then World Cup in 2026. Crazy. 2026, bro. He's coming for it. Well, it's been great talking with you. It's super crazy, bro. Congrats again. Thank you, man. Crazy. Yeah. So anyway, this is the homie Ian Beckley. You guys better have learned something, bro, or else you suck. Just kidding. All right. Sheesh.